When you hear the term, victim mentality, Darren, what do you think?
I think it's rampant. I think it makes me cringe at times just to hear that, because there's so much more around just the victim mentality. But when you hear that word, it makes me cringe in the sense of, that people that we're not willing to overcome. Like you're okay just wallowing around in this feeling of hopelessness. So that's the word that I would say. Hopelessness is victim mentality. And it's, I know it's our topic today, and I don't want to take up that time because I can go on a rampage on this. But, Tyler, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What is it that you think of when you hear the word victim mentality?
So I agree with you. I think it's rampant. I think it naturally, as people, we're wired to think that way. Because think about it as a parent. Your 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 6-year-old. It's never their fault, right? It's somebody else's fault. It's not, why am I getting in trouble, or I didn't do this. There's always, we're wired that way. Mm-hmm. It makes me cringe, like you said, too, because one is we have parents that are not raising their children to take ownership of their own actions, because we have so many parents that are absent and let babysitters, let nannies, let school, let daycare raise their kids and pour into their kids. And that's a trait I feel like parents, grandparents, like family members specifically are designed to do. Those are lessons that they teach. Mm-hmm. A teacher can't do that. Coaches, they can start to teach that, but parents have to set the foundation of taking ownership. And so it's become rampant because, for the last 20 plus years, now we have these kids that don't have to take ownership because everything has been done for them. Everything has been easy. So when something goes wrong, then it's not their fault. Right. It's somebody else's fault. I can't do anything right. I don't have control over anything because they've never had control in their life. They've never had responsibilities at a young age. They never had to take the trash cans out. They never had to do the dishes. They never had to mow the lawn. They never had to do all of those things where they had ownership in the work that they did and realized, okay, the effort that I put into it, I actually can control that. I can control what I do. The victim mentality says I'm not in control. The victim mentality means, that everybody else dictates my future. Right. And that to me, that makes me cringe because that's a hard way to live. Can you just, and like you said, the hopelessness, like, can you just imagine like my success is 100% dictated on everyone else? Exactly. Yeah. Like that is hopeless. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like you're a puppet.
Yes.
And you can't do anything for yourself, and you can't think for yourself, and you can't act for yourself, and you can't get angry. You can't do this and this. It's that's the part of it that again, as you said, what do I think about? Hopelessness. And I've lived that growing up. I lived the fact of, hey, I was just born into this. This is where we live. This is what we do. I mean, everyone around me is this way. Everyone around me doesn't have a parent, doesn't have a father in their life. Man, I can do about it.
Let's take it to the guys let's take it to the football field first. Right. We've all three of us have played with guys that if they busted a route, busted a coverage, fit a gap wrong, whatever, it was somebody else's fault always. Right. There are those guys. Mm-hmm. And that mentality, that victim mentality, how often did that translate to good players?
No, at all, because most of those good players
take accountability,
extreme ownership
of it, right? And I mean, you think about, okay, why are those guys doing that? It's because they've always been told they were the best. They always, they didn't have to work very hard. They didn't put in the time. They were just naturally good. Mm-hmm. I mean, think of so many guys that it was always, oh, this coach hates me, or I didn't get the opportunity. This dude, he did this, or the strength coach, he screwed me up and hurt me in the weight room, or the training staff. I mean, it's those guys. It's always somebody else's fault, right? And that, I mean, there's guys like that. You think in the office, in the business world, there's people all over.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's be honest. We all play that role. And we're sitting here bullshit. I want to be full of shit here. I've played the role of the victim before. I've had those moments where I'm like, well, it's someone else's fault that we didn't do this or didn't get this, didn't win this football game. I've played that same role before, and I think that's just in us. You said it earlier. We're wired that way. Yeah. Now it's just about how long are you going to sit there and be the victim?